Okay, here's the latest addition to the American Savage Garage. I'm going to be selling the Kia, and I wanted something old, well, older, that could drive highway speeds, that was a little bigger than the Kia, and that could be repaired and had less of the modern conveniences, that is the modern electronics, than the Kia has, which, as you know if you've seen my channel, is eating clock springs like they're going out of style. So I found this. I got a 1996 Ford Bronco Eddie Bauer. Got it for a good deal from a very good guy. And we're just going to take a walk on the outside, and then I'll show you something that I have to do to it immediately. I drove it home 150 miles or so, and it did well. I mean, it runs like a champ. It shifts great. It's an automatic transmission. It's what is it, an A4OD or 4AOD? I can't remember how they do it. I wanted a stick shift with overdrive, but man, they're very hard to find. So I got this. So let's take a look at the outside. The person who had it before put a 6-inch lift on it, which I probably will not change. And it's a little chewy. It's not bad on the frame. I'll do port 15 like I did with my truck, my 1980 F350. But everything is new here. The suspension is really new. The brake lines are new. So this is minor to me. But there's some metal work I'm going to have to do here, which is way less than what I had to do with the Ford. So here, of course, she's chewy, really chewy actually, as you can see down in here. I've got metal pieces coming over the fender wells. This is a notorious place, by the way. The inner here, yeah, I've got a piece coming for that, and then of course this panel for this section. The rest of the panel is... So just as we look at the frame on the Ford that I did, I've got some overspray on this, but this is from port 15, and it's 4 years old, 3 years old now. It did a great job. And I have to say, if you're going to do something in situ, then port 15 does a pretty good job. But so I'll have to do some of that onto this. So the chewy area here, and then we got a large swath here from here all the way across here. I have a panel coming for just this section here. The rear, obviously, is going to have to be redone. Something that's going to take some fabrication that they don't sell. Replacement parts. They sell full tailgates, but they don't sell these parts here. And so this is going to have to be all fabricated from steel, sheet metal, and this is the only bad part right here in the center. The rest of it's in pretty good shape. Continuing on, the this side here, obviously bad. Both sides were bad on my Ford 1980 Ford F350 too. Both sides on my Ford F350, the wheel wells or the wheel arches were bad, and this is the driver's side. And yeah, it's I've got a panel coming for this as well. And then of course, right here on the Ford F350, my 1980, it rusted out here. Everything else is in good shape. We've got some paint decay here. We've got some paint decay on the top here of the cab. I recently shined up the front headlights. The front is in decent shape. It's got a little hooey right here. I'm not sure what from. But, and they had at one point a deflector on here. So, you know, these will come off. I don't think there's holes in there. Let me see here. I don't think there's holes in here. I think it just stuck on. I don't know what this was, but it's odd. I'm not sure about the pinstripes. I think these were painted on. It's very difficult to find replacement, like sort of OEM reproduction of this. I think these were painted on, but OEM reproductions of this stripe right here can be found, and I found those. And so if I need any of this stuff, I know where to get it. It makes a break line between the light wintergreen, I believe this is light wintergreen, as opposed to the Pacific green, which is darker, which honestly I think is sharper. But the original paint scheme is this has not been screwed with. This is all original through here. The top does not leak. The back window, I've got parts coming for this. Back window, all of the rubber for this is coming. I'm going to replace it all. And the reason for that is because the window is pretty sluggish. So I'm going to change the motor out, and also the rubber on the inside and the track plastic, which helps the window go up and down. So that's going to be the first thing really that I do in terms of, you know, fixing the necessary stuff that I need. I'll probably take this off and wire brush it down, and I'm gonna gloss it black. It's, you know, it's one of the things that runs pretty rusty, and the only way to do this is to just take it off and wire brush it down, treat it, prime it, and then repaint it. It's one of the easiest things to do. The rest of the stuff is in pretty good shape. I can't believe the tailgate, actually, especially the aluminum here, is in good shape. I'll say something about this in a minute. I know where this came from, and unlike the 1980, my 1980 F350, which I had to go to Marty Report to get at least some sense of where it came from and its history. This one, I have a lot, which I'll show you in a bit. Now, I drove this all the way back from Raleigh, North Carolina, and it was an adventure. I'm not gonna lie, it was an adventure. And the reason it was an adventure is because we sprang a leak on the coolant line, and it was leaking from right here. There's a pinhole here. As you can see here, it's all still kind of wet. It's been sitting for a couple days, but I had to stop every like 50 miles to fill up the power steering pump so it wouldn't burn up. And so this is the first thing on my list to fix. This whole boot here, if you will, is gonna have to be replaced. And that's the first thing on my list, because it's really not drivable. It just squirts out everywhere, and you can see it's just coated everything here. And so the leak is right there on this bend. So that's what I'm gonna do. Otherwise, it's a 351W. They did a little bit of stuff I wouldn't do, but they did a little bit of undercoating on this thing. It looks like they went kind of crazy in a few spots, but generally speaking, frame and everything is in pretty dang good shape. I don't know anything else that, you know, you never know with these things that might crop up. Obviously, this is part of the 6-inch lift that they did here, and which is, you know, well done. I mean, I've got no complaints. I'm not going to lower it back down. I'm happy with the way it is. So next thing I'll do is give you an interior look on this, but the next thing that I'll do is we'll kind of go through the history here, because I think I like to know where things came from, and I like to know their story. And so let's show you what I know of the story. One thing I love about old vehicles is trying to figure out the history of them. You know, like, what's their story? And knowing that story helps me to figure out where it's been and maybe what it's been through. On the 1980 F-350 I had 0. So it took the Marty report for me to at least know where it was bought. And then I could, you know, at least know where it originated from and then where it ended up and where I bought it. But for the 1996 Bronco that I got, whoever had this beforehand took very good care of it. This is the original owner's manual booklet case, and it was all intact. And what was very interesting to me is if you remember on the back of the Bronco, I showed you an emblem on the tailgate. So I knew that from that emblem that it came from Wyoming, someplace. Because the dealership has several, well, Wyoming or even Tennessee, because the dealership has several across Wyoming and Tennessee, several dealerships. But stuck in this was the original card from the person who sold it from the original place that it was bought from in 1995. And that is in Sheridan, Wyoming. And Floyd A. Songer was the salesman. And then I'm assuming this is a Ford number he wrote down for any problems. That's pretty cool. For me, that's cool. So it went at least started in Wyoming. Now, also, what was sort of buried in the truck, if I can call it that, was that it was eventually wound up in Virginia. And in Virginia, and even in South Carolina, it appears here, there were several things done to it over time. So it's been to Wyoming. It spent most of its time that I have, at least by record, in Virginia. And then there's some work done on it in South Carolina. Now, or at least that's where the guy lived. It was done in North Carolina. The person I bought it from lived in South Carolina, and he now lives in North Carolina. So we got brake drums, we got brake shoes replacements, which were done in 2022. I know at some point in time in 2012, the OBD codes on the evaporative emissions control system control valve was faulty. By the way, they have the old one in as a part of a part that they kept, and I found that in the glove box. So this was done in 2012. I also know that the 4x4 automatic would not engage. This is a common problem from what I understand. I have to learn more about it. But they're manual hubs now, mile marker hubs, which I'm going to have to look at because the caps are just loose. I'm not happy. But anyway, in 2009, this is when this started to fail. The automatic hub system would not engage. And so I think back then is when they went to a manual hub on the front to engage the 4x4. And here's another one. This is around December, around the same time of 2009. And then we got more here from 2021. The brakes were installed from a company, a Virginia State Inspection. Brakes were installed. Emissions control was installed in, it looks like, what year was this? 2019. And then a big one here in 2022, the suspension was done. I'm assuming this is when he lifted it. I could be wrong, but also a mirror was replaced. I think there's also another one here. Yeah, in 2019, the windshield was replaced. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. I'm not sure if I can see evidence of that. But these things are nice to know. So you kind of get, a feel for the character of the vehicle you're buying. And so for me, that was a big deal. On the Ford F-350, I wish I would have known some of this, because it would have, you know, at least filled in the story for me. Well, here's the piece that was leaking, and I got the new one in, I'll show you. But it was leaking right here. It's just crusted and corroded. And there was a hole here that was just spewing out. Very fine stream. And then leaking from the bottom here, there's a hole in here somewhere. So that got that off. And I got the new one in already. We'll do an interior review of this too, by the way. I've been doing some things on the interior. So there it is. Here's the new one. It didn't really fit as well as I liked. I had to zip tie it here because the bolt that holds this on is being blocked by this. It's kind of hard to see, but it's basically it was raised 6 inches, and this whole plate that they have bolted in here, it blocks the hole that holds the power steering cooling part of the line to the cross member. So there's no way to put they were just leaving it loose, so it was kind of bouncing back and forth a little bit. But I wanted to tie it down to make it at least not hit this if it turned or pop out, that type of thing. The other side is screwed in okay right over here. But so anyway, it wasn't a perfect fit. Kind of hangs to the front a little bit here of the cross member, but it's out of the way and secured. And I have no more leaking. I've driven it around. I got nothing leaking out here. So I call that, you know, at least it may not look perfect for the moment, but a temporary win. Okay, we've, for the 1996 Bronco, I've got some metal that came in. Inner wheel well on the right side, I believe. And then, of course, both sides here of the wheel arches on the 1996 Bronco. I had to take off the tire carrier today. I'm starting to clean it up, and of course I had an issue with that. Here's the baby, and I have wheel archers for both of these sides here, so this is all going to be replaced. And of course that the tire carrier came out pretty well, really. I was kind of shocked actually until the lower two. So I've got bolts here stuck, rested together. And by the way, I wasn't doing a gorilla on those. I mean, I barely turned them. If I had to say, I put maybe 20-30 foot-pounds on it, and they busted right off. The heads busted right off, and I think I have them here. There's the first one here, and then here's the second one that broke off. I mean, this one really broke off. So all the other ones, I'm going to change all these out. I'm going to get new bolts and everything, but all the other ones came out pretty decently. And so what I have then is an issue I got to solve for the tire carrier on the rear, because I'm keeping the swing arm. I'm going to prep this and sand it down a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a primer on it, and then I'm going to paint it a gloss black. And but I got to prep and find out how to get those two other bolts out. They're soaking in blaster right now. I really don't expect that to work, but I could drill it out and tap it. Now the original bolts are, I think, an M8 by 1.25 millimeter. Closest thing you could do is like a 5/16 by 24 thread. But I'd like to go ahead and try and match this up, especially since I have all new bolts coming. So what I could do is tap it to an M8 125. I may go and get some bolts, because on the inside of the tail ends, you can easily access these bolts right here. So once this comes off, then you get access down here, and you could run a couple of bolts, like run one on and run another one on, and then tighten it, and then really just sort of run them through this way instead of pulling them out this way. And if you, that's a possibility that I'm thinking I'm going to try first before I do any tapping and drilling and tapping. So anyway, yeah, you know, these things are to be expected on older vehicles. The vehicle went to inspection today, by the way. This is my last year for inspection in the state I live in. After 30 years, your cars don't have to be inspected anymore. Go figure. And it passed with flying colors today. Everything worked. Now, I figured it would, because I think I got a good deal on this. There's obviously a lot of little things to do. Certainly a lot less than the Yellow Rose, which is what I call my 1980 manual 4x4. But I'm pretty pleased with this. It runs. I don't know if I've got a problem with the AC yet. We're gonna see. I charged it today and put some dye in it, and I'm gonna put a neon light on it, a black light on it, or whatever, and see if I've got something out of it. So we'll check on that. And then I also, I still have to do the interior, which I haven't shot that yet. So this is going to be out of sequence. I have no doubt that I haven't. I've done the exterior of this. I've done some stuff on the underneath, and now I need to do the interior of the vehicle, which is in pretty good condition. Got some stains on the carpet and whatnot, but not a lot. So anyway, we'll tackle that here soon. Okay, we got the first piece cut out here. And got some braces here that we're going to just elongate down here. Going to elongate down and attach them to here. We got to get this rust cleaned up though first. And then I think we got to drape this down. So we're going to see. But I'm going to get this rust cleaned up first. It's not bad here on top. It's just right here on this seam. Right here on this seam. And it only goes about this far. So we're going to get some rust reformer on, and I'm going to, some port 15 probably actually, clean it up, vacuum some of this rust out which is in there, because these little braces which attach into this are unattached, so we're going to reattach those. So here is the little bit of a conundrum here. I wasn't sure how this bracket worked. These brackets help hold on the motor that rolls down the window, and they're a little loose, but I didn't understand how these brackets all came together. Notoriously, this is where Bronco tailgates rust out first, and mine was pretty rusted out here. The lip on the bottom was totally gone here, and the original comes down and it rolls up and wraps around that lip. It's sort of like hammered in there and then maybe stitch welded. These brackets, what they did is they came in, they came down, they extended on the lip here down, and then they curved, and there was a metal piece here, and then it curved back up into this and over. This was all one piece. So what I did is I'm not going to do that. I wanted to weld this so it's a little stronger, and so I'm going to curve one into here and curve one into here, and we'll see how the piece I cut out, the skin that I cut out, fits. But I'm going to have to run a slight lip down here all across here and weld it into the brackets. My welds suck here. So I can create a lip that comes down to, it's about 3/4 of an inch. And then the new piece, I'll have to sort of gently hammer it into place and then stitch weld it on the other end. Now I'm doing this in situ, which is be easier if I took off the tailgate, but that's a lot. I don't think I need to, but you know, maybe I should have. This bracket here holds the torsion bar, and it's in good shape. Everything here is in good shape. So what I did is I pour 15'd everything in here to preserve it, stop the rust. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to, once I get some of these welds cleaned up and get these two brackets in and the lip in, I'm going to hit it with a self-etching primer, especially the bare metal. And then I'm going to hit it with some paint after that. And then on the inside, when I get the tailgate down and do the glass, I'll run a seam sealer into here. I think that's what I'm going to do, is run a seam sealer into here, and then maybe throw some, I don't know what you call it, but an underized coating that doesn't, you know, not the popcorn stuff, to help sort of seal up some of this bottom. Okay, well, we'll see what I can do here, and we'll see how everything fits. Okay, we've seen the outside, and so now here's the inside. I've done a few things to this already. I've got a dash mat on this. The dash is not cracked whatsoever. It's in perfect shape, as you can see, and that's the case all the way through. It's got an aftermarket radio on it. Simple air controls. 4x4 and low range. Now, I don't know if this works yet. Everything in here works. The radio works. The AC works. I did have to charge it. It's been holding for a week now, 2 weeks. So it's got manual hubs in it, so they did a conversion with mile marker, as you saw on the outside. The rear defrost, I'm not sure yet because I still have to do the tailgate. Everything on the steering wheel works. Came with this cover, but it's not cracked or anything. It's just in good shape. The cruise control works. The horns work. The windshield wipers work, the lights work, the blinkers work, and the only thing I've got to do here is, you see, this has a little bit of slop in it. It could be those bushings on the inside, which I'll get to later, but otherwise, shifts great. It's got a 4 AOD on it that Ford put in there. The upper is in good shape. The entire liner here is in great shape, and lights work, of course, and the only thing that doesn't work is this. So pretty sure that everything else is in working condition. You can see the seat upholstery looks good. The carpets were a little bit stained, and I shampooed them. Most of the stains came out, but there's still a few little dark spots here and there. I put some Huskies in here because I always do that to my vehicles. I did it to the Yellow Rose, for example. So the interior is in great shape. Everything works on the controls on the doors. The last year, the wing windows, I love those things. Had to replace the wing window over there, latch. That's done. I already put a Bubba cover on the back here. I love these old saddle blanket covers because, you know, I'm from the West. What can you do? Back floor looks good. The rear end, I'm going to have to wait to show you until later. But everything here is clean. I mean, the ashtray has never been used. Power, a little cubby hole here. I don't know what to say. Tilt steering wheel right here. Everything is in good shape. So, you know, that's pretty much the interior. I'm probably going to put seat covers on these to preserve the Eddie Bauer interior here. I mean, I don't know. I know it's not cool, but I'll be honest with you, I'll probably put saddle blankets on this just to preserve the original. I don't know why they didn't have leather seats on this one, but they didn't. And so that's the pretty much overview of the truck right now. I've got minor Bondo here. Looks like more than it is. Just I am still not doing well on the welding. I'm getting better where you weld it and then grind it and then there's no seam. I still have a little seam on mine. And then while I was waiting for that to dry, I did this today. And I've got to do the other side. Really, the windows next. Got to replace the motor, I think. Definitely the racks. Definitely the leather, weather stripping here between the window has to be fixed. So you can see it's scratching it here, and that's the weather stripping. And it's binding a little bit, so I think those sliders inside the door here are a little bit probably rusted or corroded. So yeah, so that's the overview of the new addition to the American Savage Garage. This is I don't flip stuff, so this is mine, that's mine, and of course that's my first baby right here, the Harley Davidson. So these are mine. 1996, 1980 manual 4x4, and of course a 1988 Harley Springer. First year those came out. Okay, well, there you go. Hope you enjoy the walk around. I'll keep updating this channel with this new project as I go along. And then, yes, of course, I'll be painting it. And at some point, I don't know when. But there you go, all right?